Myers ASMR. How are you? It's so good to see you as usual. Hey, did you know that the most delicious life is one that you live on purpose, not when you're reacting to things? Yeah, the most delicious life is one that you live on purpose, not when you're reacting to things. Well, on purpose, I chose to heat up some turkey chili from a can. Just because I've never had it before. I've always just made my own. So, here goes. It's good. I think I can do better. But, yeah. Hey, when you gotta eat in a pinch, this will do. Spilt. I was cooking rice to go with it, but it was taking so long to get soft. It was brown rice, and it must have cooked for about, I know it cooked for more than 20 minutes and it was still hard. So, oh well. This is just enough food, though. I just needed a snack. My Yeti mic picks up so much better, doesn't it? I should have been using it a long time ago. Oh, you like my shirt? I volunteered at the Montclair Jazz Festival. You know, I've been craving something sweet all day. So I just need to take a moment to eat a couple of cookies. These pumpkin spice cookies from Trader Joe's are so freaking good. But they're so sweet. So, just a few at a time. In fact, I'm just gonna eat two. Look at that. have an iced, like a yogurty coating. And they have a pumpkin spice seasoning. So it's just win-win. Okay, now I'm good now. This is Trader Joe's brand turkey chili. I mean, this will do in a pinch, but it's always better to eat fresh food. I had to get a couple of more. Those are so freaking good. I've had the vanilla ones, but the pumpkin spice ones just taste way better to me. Well, it's time for getting better and better every day in every way. Let me see, which book are we on? You know, I'm a little interested now in this, how to develop a winning personality. He was talking so much about loneliness. Let's continue, see what he has to say. Let's see what else he has to say about loneliness and desperation for connection. Hey, he's right. I see a lot of people like that in this world, and they do heinous things when it's left unchecked and out of control. So that's why I want to focus on this, so that you can recognize if you do feel this way and do something about it before it reaches the horrible desperate, horrendous stage. It never has to go there. All right, where are we? Down through the ages, the virtues and the vices of solitude have engaged the thoughts of the poets and the sages. If Milton cried out that loneliness is the first thing which God's eye named not good, there was Balzac to protest. We must certainly acknowledge that solitude is a fine thing. And when Thoreau wrote, "I love to be alone," I never found a companion that was so companionable as solitude. He was contradicted by the French poet Mary, who felt that solitude is the worst of all companions. Let the poets and sages battle it out. Perhaps all of them are right for the moment in which they write. When loneliness crowds in on us with all its aching emptiness, we are altogether in the camp of Milton and Mercy. And yet there must be moments of loneliness in the life of every man to make him rise to his own inimitable, incomparable, unique status in the universe. In that fountain of Hebrew wisdom, the Talmud, it is written that man was not intended to live alone, but as a member of society, that an isolated life would not be worth living, that the desirabilities of comradeship is deduced from Ecclesiastes. Two are better than one, because they have a good reward for their labor. For if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow, but woe to him that is alone when he falleth, for he hath not another to help him up. If this preoccupation carries back beyond the poets to the days of the Bible itself, one must assume that it is more or less an integral part of life as we know it. This may be due in part to man's natural fear of the dangers that beset him from the moment he is born. The one-day-old infant, weeping pitifully, will suddenly cease from weeping when his mother holds him to her. Who can tell what the little mind fears? A fall, hunger, thirst, or even aloneness itself. But woe to him that is alone when he falleth, for he hath not another to pick him up. Later there are the thunder and the lightning, the wind and the hail, the beasts of the forest, the enemy tribe, and through the long vistas of history, all of the known and unknown dangers, down to the H-bomb of our own enlightened day. And every time before he was able to conquer the dangers that arose, man maintained his composure, his very sanity, by huddling together with his fellow men. As he progressed, he found more in comradeship than mere comfort and safety. He learned to like and then to love the presence and the understanding of others. He felt when he was alone not the fear that he would not have another to help him up, but rather an aching emptiness because he did not have another to love and understand him. That ill we know as loneliness. It is clear, therefore, that the capacity for loneliness in the sense in which we speak of it is a measure of the degree to which the human animal has risen above the beasts of the forest, the farm, and the hearth. The animals that huddle together do so for good and sufficient reasons. The herd and the coveys, and the schools and the flocks are nature's design for animal living, survival, and propagation. The bear cub misses the mother bear because it craves the food and the warmth and the security she can provide. Only for you and your fellow human beings, however, does loneliness have a profoundly unselfish and unmaterialistic basis. Indeed, association with man may sometimes make even a beast rise to that higher form of loneliness. The dog that pines and starves for days at the foot of his dead master's grave is an animal that has been touched by a human soul and has learned from the touch what it means to be truly lonely. This is not to sing in praise of loneliness, but rather to point out that your loneliness is not to be considered a source of shame or a reason for self-reproach. Your capacity for loneliness is something in which you should feel pride even at the moment when you strive rightly to vanquish it. There may be some who will dispute the claim that all men are to some degree lonely and that this should attach no blame to them. They will say that if a man believes in God, he can never feel alone. This is an argument for which there can be no refutation if one accepts the premise that togetherness with other human beings can be equated with togetherness with God. But if one accepts the premise that togetherness with God does not preclude a very deep need for togetherness with others of God's children, one can go forward to the cure of loneliness as the cure of something which exists and whose existence casts no blame or shame on its victims. There may be others who will say that if a man has within himself the resources that make him a whole man, he can never be lonely. For among those resources are sufficient outlets for his interest, his occupation, his emotional involvement to keep him from missing the companionship of other men. It was Montaigne who said indeed that nature has presented us with a large faculty of entertaining ourselves alone, and often calls us to it to teach us that we ourselves impart to society, but chiefly and mostly to ourselves. There is much to be said for this philosophy, selfish as it may sound. One of the aims of this book will be to help you develop the faculty of entertaining yourself alone. We have already indicated that loneliness is not a matter of mere physical togetherness, or the lack of it, that a man can be more lonely in a room full of people than in an empty room. Togetherness does not require physical presence, but the lack of physical presence can lead to loneliness for those who lack the faculty of entertaining themselves alone, and thereby enjoying with complete lack of loneliness their togetherness with absent ones. But here's the paradox of the philosophy of Montaigne and his disciples. The men who are whole, who have a large faculty of entertaining themselves, usually have to struggle to find opportunities for being alone because their company is so attractive to other people. And by the same token, those who do not have the faculty of entertaining themselves seem always to lack the faculty of entertaining others, so that their loneliness is compounded. In brief, the advice of Montaigne is wasted because those who are able to take it do not need it. We come now to the vital question: why are so many people so lonely so much of the time? Yeah, why are so many people so lonely so much of the time? There's no single reason. As a matter of fact, there are countless reasons, of which perhaps the most common are the following: the feeling of being misunderstood, the necessity for taking responsibility for great decisions, the problems and mysteries of adolescence, the fears and adjustments of aging, the loss of loved ones, the lack of brothers and sisters, shyness and self-consciousness, change in matrimonial status, spinsterhood and bachelorhood, social and intellectual inadequacy, lack of fixed goal or purpose, physical handicaps, separation from home and family, removal to a new neighborhood or country, economic unsuccessfulness, minority status, lack of demonstrativeness, being without fixed goal or purpose, chronic self-pity, to name only a few. You can boil down all of these reasons, and most of those omitted to one, cover all: personality deficiencies. It goes back to our comments about space-age attitudes. People look for personality rather than intrinsic merit. They no longer have the time or patience or desire to worry about your troubles. Unless you have a bit of magnetism, they won't even bother to visit you when you are sick in a hospital. It is not that they are bad or selfish. They are merely caught up in the swirl of our hectic age and have become thoughtless. As a rule, they do what they like to do. And if they like to be with you, you won't be lonely, whatever your problems may be. You know, I get the feeling this book is a little outdated. antiquated, but what do you think? Hey, you know what? The most delicious life is one that you live on purpose, not when you're reacting to things. Yeah, the most delicious life is one that you live on purpose, not when you're reacting to things. And hey, if you like what I'm doing here, like and subscribe, donate to the cause. Catch me in the next video, and may you find lasting happiness.